We know you love us, but the information on our podcast is provided for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional advice of any kind. If you or anyone you know needs professional help, please seek mental health services. Welcome to the Date Podcast, the show for anyone navigating the dating and relationship world. We interview celebrities, talk pop news, discuss dating do's and don'ts, and debate relationship topics. We are available on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please subscribe and review if you like what you hear. Check out our website, datepodcast.com, for more information. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hey, it's Zorric,
host of the Date Podcast, and we're excited to have this show for you guys today.
Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, bum, bum.
We have a guest. I know you guys love us all by ourselves. However, I think you guys love us more when there's a third person in the room.
I think that is true. Because we talk about the same things when it's you and me, Emma.
I know.
I complain about my life, and you complain about what?
Everything. What do I not complain about?
I don't think we've ever had an episode where we're like not complaining. That's all we do.
I know. If someone remembers that episode, can you send it to me, please? Because I feel like my life is just like
okay, we're making this a downer.
Okay.
Let's make this an upper now.
All right, so we have a special guest. Her name is Jenifer Costigan.
Hello. Yeah.
And Jenifer is an LMFT. She is the co-owner of Reconnecting Relationships that's based in Fort Worth. And Jenifer, tell us what populations you like working with real quick.
So I like to work with individuals and mainly couples.
Ooh. See, people like most LMFTs or most any kind of mental health practitioner is afraid of working with couples. Yes. And I'm with you, Jen. I love it. Couples are fun.
Yes.
Why are they fun? I would think other sex is funner, right?
I don't know what you mean by that.
It's the most fun. Okay, I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway.
Continue.
So Jenifer's here because we're going to talk about sexual disorders that affects both men and women, and how that affects our dating lives.
Yes.
We have lots of questions for you.
Zorric has a lot of questions for you. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I know all the answers, but I'm just asking for a friend, you know?
Quote unquote.
Does he have a nickname in the last letter of the nickname a J?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I'm his proxy right now.
Oh,
lots of questions. All right. What else? What else? That's it?
Is
that all? Is that all we have for today? That's it?
That's it.
All right. I think you have other things to talk about.
I do.
Do you?
I'm okay. I'm waiting for the scary music.
Go ahead.
Let's start with the one that's not really a big deal. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I feel like every summer there's a challenge that happens, and then last summer it was the In My Feelings challenge by Drake, which Jenifer loves Drake, by the way.
I do.
I can't.
I know why.
Why?
I'll bring it up later.
Okay. So just funny story about Jen before I get into this challenge. So every year I host an Ugly Christmas Sweater pub crawl, right? And Jen has won. How many have you won? Is it 2 or 1?
I think just 1.
Just 1?
Did you go last year?
No.
Oh.
Okay. It was in Dallas. So the first year she won, it was a Drake-themed sweater. Can you remind me what it was? Because it wasn't In My Feelings.
So it was the Hotline Bling. And it said 1-800, I think it was 1-800 Sleigh Bells Ring.
Yeah.
And then on the back, it was a kind of snow hill. And I made a snowman Drake.
Oh, I like that.
Kind of showed the process of him rolling down to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess kind of to the top. Because he said started from the bottom, now I'm here.
That is true. Cue the Drake music that we can't play because
royalty.
It's copyrighted.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, so anyways. Yeah, that one. And I think the next year you had another Drake-themed sweater too.
Well, I remember one year was my cat.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah.
Jennifer's very creative when it comes to her sweaters.
Good.
That's the kind of energy that I need for my pub crawl this year. Okay, people? All right. So, and my feelings challenge was last summer. Now there's a new challenge for this summer. It's called the Bottle Cap Challenge. So a bunch of MMA fighters started this challenge actually, and it was basically like these martial artists like had a bottle, and they would like do a roundabout kick and like hit the bottle cap to where the bottle cap like comes off the bottle and the bottle is still upright.
Oh, I've seen this on Instagram.
Yes.
And I was like, what the hell is this? And I just like scrolled to the next one.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's it. However, I'm going to talk about like people who have done it. John Mayer did it. It was kind of funny to see him do it.
But did the bottle stay up?
It looked like it was going to tip over, and then it stayed up. So it was really funny to see his reaction. And then Jason Statham, of course, did it. And Jason Statham, like, can he ever fail at anything? No.
He's kind of old, though.
I
Did he
don't
lift his leg
care.
up?
Yes, he lifted it up beautifully.
Did he really?
Probably lifted it up better than
Did
you,
you watch
Zorric.
it like 5 times?
I'm not going to say how many times I watched it.
Did you watch it 5
studied
times?
it.
No?
Ellie Goulding also did it, and she did a really good job, too.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought it was like let's, stop using, like, plastic bottle campaign, and it wasn't. It was just, like, something silly.
Can you talk to me about how you like Jason Statham's kick?
It was just a beautiful roundabout kick. All right, I'm moving on.
What happened?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let's talk about, do we want to end with the story, or do we want to, start with it? Okay,
Let's start with it. Come on.
So, guess who finalized their divorce with a $38 billion settlement?
Go first, Jennifer. Guess who?
Guess who's not recently, but who's been going through a divorce and is settling for $38 billion.
There's only one person
It
that
was
has that money.
The Amazon person?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Woo!
That's what I'm talking
Jeff
about.
Bezos and his wife, ex-wife now, Mackenzie, after 25 years of marriage and 4 children together, she was fined with $38 billion.
Jen, what would you do with that money? It's day 1 after the breakup. What's the first thing you would buy?
Another cat.
Another cat! She gets it right. Emma, what about you?
I'd pay off all my debt, and then
All
I'd be like,
her
let's go
debt.
on vacation.
There you go. That's a lot of dough.
That is
That
a lot
is
of
a
debt.
lot
And
of-
me paying off my student debt and like debts that I have would be like a little blip compared to $38 billion. Are you kidding me?
Jen.
It'd be like nothing.
How quickly would you get back in the dating scene after that? 1 day? 1 month?
With $38 billion,
Yeah.
I would wait.
She's also keeping 4% of Amazon stock. That's worth, so she's keeping that, and so apparently that places her in the 22nd of the world's 500 richest people.
Wait, so she's single right now, huh? Emma?
Yeah. She's 49,
That's okay.
and she's still beautiful.
There's going to be a lot
she's
of
very
dudes
beautiful.
in line for her.
For
'cause
sure.
She has
I
a
think
lot of
she's
dough.
going to be like, no, give me that prenup.
No, but she's really
I'm
good
not
looking
a sugar
though.
mama. She's really pretty.
She's not, she's a looker.
He is not. She is though.
That
so
is true.
good for
We're like, how did that happen?
Good for him, exactly. Apparently they met right after college. I mean, they've been together for they were together for 25 years, a quarter of a century.
Emma, would you date Jeff Bezos right now? He is
No, that
the
lazy
richest
eye
guy.
is really looking
He's the
at me. I'm
richest
so
guy
sorry.
in the world.
No, that lazy eye's getting me. No,
You can
I'm
look.
sorry, Jeff Bezos. I think you're a lovely person. I hope you're a lovely person. Although you own Amazon, and I hear Amazon's really a crappy company to work for.
No, it's a great company to work for.
Is it?
Depending on department.
Okay.
It's all about your manager too.
That's true.
Well, I hear the warehouse is not that great.
Oh,
so,
then don't work in the warehouse. Work in the outhouse.
in the outhouse.
Go ahead.
Well, he's already dating someone. So because it was so what happened was
That was
he
quick.
was cheating
Oh, that's
on
right.
her. Remember, he was
Uh-huh.
cheating on her with a news anchor called Lauren Sanchez, right? And this this broke out in January, and so they've obviously been going through this divorce, right? She also ended her marriage to her husband of 13 years. And they have 2 kids together. And she has an older son from a previous relationship. So this is about to be her 3rd marriage. Look, let me tell y'all something. I don't care how many times you get married. That's not my problem. I really don't care. However, the statistics show that the more that you're married, the less likely your relationship is going to work.
J-Lo.
Yep. And Jenifer can back me up on that one.
That is true.
Not Jennifer Lopez.
No.
Jenifer Costigan.
Yeah.
J-Co.
But J-Co, would you break? Okay, let's say you're in a marriage. Would you break up the marriage for Mr. Jeff Bezos?
No.
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 That was so quick. That was a hard no.
Would you?
I would marry him in a heartbeat.
Oh my gosh.
He has so much money. You know how many gadgets I can buy? Like, I'd be part owner.
Are you getting like a boner right now?
It's happening.
Ew,
it's
never
happening.
mind.
Right?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Oh, I set us up for failure. I set myself up for failure. Oh my gosh. Gross.
But that's crazy. I mean, I guess, is he going to marry her?
Well, what is happening right now? A source is like, they've had to put their, now that like they've reached a divorce, they feel like the time was right to finally date like a regular person.
But I think he said that, or she said that.
A source.
A source said he said that.
That they both have said this. That any relationship had to be on a back burner for the reason because they've been focused on the kids for the past month. And now that each of them have reached a divorce settlement, now it's the time to date like regular people.
Regular people, like non-billionaires?
Right.
Is that what regular people
are? How do regular people date that's different from billionaires?
Know. I think we're regular people too.
Right. So how do, like, what? So, like, we can't like take a plane to Europe, can't. Right? So is that how their dates are?
I would love to date a billionaire. That would be so amazing. Right?
Quick trips everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be, like, if I were to marry Jeff Bezos, there'd have to be, like, this thing. Like, I can still date other people. Because that ain't going to work. Mm-mm. Okay. What else?
Apparently, she gave him all of her interest in the Washington Post, Blue Origin, and then the 75% of their Amazon stock plus voting control of my shares.
Yeah, she shouldn't be able to vote.
Gosh, she should be able to vote, damn it.
Well, not like election vote, but like Amazon vote. Well, because is she going to be participating in the company?
I mean, she owns 4% now of Amazon.
That's a small. I mean, there's probably other people that
own, that have more probably. Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money, man. Good for her. I would have been like, give me more. I think her focus, though, was like really the kids, which is nice.
Well, is that an excuse? Is that it? You know, people say things, I'm focusing on my business or I'm focusing on my kids, but they're in a relationship. Are they like not focusing on their relationship because there's a problem in their relationship, you guys think? Or
it depends.
Could be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like an out.
It could be.
You know? Mm-hmm. Okay. What's next?
All right. Let's end with a good, happy story. So it looks like the trend right now for all of these like celebrities is to have like 2 weddings, you know? Like Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas, but I'm not going to talk about them. You know how they got married in Las Vegas and then Diplo like streamed it and then they actually got married for like the actual wedding in France. What? You didn't know that? Oh my gosh. So the last Joe Jonas, the last single, actually Bonus Jonas, but Joe Jonas of the trio, like, is married now to Sophie Turner. He's a very lucky man.
She's a very lucky woman. She's a very lucky woman too.
He is lucky to have her.
How about they're both lucky? Like there's no luckiness. Lucky. There's no comparison. Joe Jonas
is like, for me, like Kevin Jonas always had my heart, and then he got married. So
Joe Jonas sings
and then
bacon.
I had to wait until Nick Jonas was legal, and then I was like, dang, Nick Jonas, but then he got married, and then I was like, all right, I can see Joe Jonas being attractive, and now Joe Jonas. I'm just saying, you know, Kevin and Nick had it going on the whole time. Okay, so Zoe Kravitz also got married in France to Carl Glusman. Am I saying that right?
It's a regular person.
Yeah. I don't think so. But apparently they had the rehearsal dinner in Paris, and instead of the trousers that she wanted to wear, she wore white bike shorts. Underneath, actually looks really pretty. Underneath, a hand-crocheted net dress embellished with hundreds of pearls. So, see? It actually doesn't look bad. Okay. Jenifer does not agree.
That's not my choice.
She looks like she's going clubbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the rehearsal dinner, so, like, I wouldn't expect her in anything. I think it's
Too
because
fancy.
it's Zoe Kravitz.
Sure.
You know? Her Big Little Lies cast was there, and of course, like, her parents, which is Lisa Bonet and the handsome, beautiful piece of man meat, Lenny Kravitz. I love him. And Jason Momoa, another beautiful piece of man meat.
I swear, like half of our episodes, we mentioned Jason Momoa and Kale.
Who's that?
Go ahead.
Who's that?
Kale,
Like
our friend Kale.
Like the vegetable?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
With a C instead of a K.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Okay, go ahead.
Interesting.
What else?
So, all the Big Little Lies co-stars were there. They were having fun. And so Lenny Kravitz's home actually served as a wedding venue. So he actually has an 18th century mansion in France with 3 stories with 8 bedrooms, was once owned by a French minister, but of course, like, he has decorated very differently. And he converted the wine cellar into a speakeasy.
Ooh.
Right?
That's pretty
Isn't that
cool?
cool?
Yeah.
And he also has like a no shoes policy. So everybody was like barefoot at the wedding venue. Isn't that cool? I think it's
Lots
kind
of
of
stinkiness.
cool. Why do you have to ruin stuff sometimes?
I don't know. I can imagine 500 people in a basement, Jen, like,
But
with feet.
they're also like all over the house is a thing.
Okay, go ahead.
You have a no shoe policy at your apartment.
I mean, it's not, it's just for you. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
That's it. That's all
That's
I have.
it? Okay. Thank you for that. We have another segment, a new segment called
Oh my gosh.
What Would Date Podcast Do?
I'm scared.
So Emma is going to ask some questions.
I'm going to ask questions?
Yeah, you have those 2 questions.
Oh, yeah.
Or did you want to save those questions for the other segment? Let's save it for the other segment.
Okay.
These are short.
Okay.
Just
guys,
maybe we'll just do one question.
Zoe likes to give me a lot of anxiety sometimes.
So let's start with this question. It's very easy. So Jen will need to answer this, and so will Emma. I'll answer it too.
Okay.
But this is our recommendation. So what we did is we looked online on Reddit, and there were just a bunch of people asking questions, and there's this category called dating in their 30s, and so I just took a question from that forum.
Oh my gosh.
And it's pretty, I mean, they're simple, right?
I forget how prudish I am until you guys ask, until I get asked questions.
This one's called Close Your Eyes.
No.
I, 30-year-old female, have been dating a guy, 29, for a few months now. I've started to notice that he almost always kisses me with his eyes open and looking over my shoulder.
That's creepy.
Like a hard look over my shoulder. It seems somewhat disrespectful. We're kissing, but he's not actually interested in it. That's a question. He's not the first guy I've dated that does this, and I just don't get it. So here's her question to you guys. Is it a fear of intimacy thing? Secret serial killer thing? Run for the hills red flag thing? Am I weird for expecting eyes shut? Help, please. Emma, help her.
I don't know how to help her, except maybe does she have like a ghost behind her that like comes out when people are making out with her?
Does she have a tail coming out of her butt?
Yeah, or something. Like what like non-human thing is happening behind her that makes these guys keep their eyes open? Because I think that's so weird. Like I think like when you're making out, sometimes you just need to open your eyes to like just kind of assess like real quick and like
you know where you are.
But yeah,
But you're kissing.
and like make sure you're still kissing the same person, or just to like refocus and like maneuver, you know, because sometimes you just need to like move
Tilt the head a
around,
little bit.
right? That's weird.
Are they like bug eyes?
We don't know.
That's all we
It'd be
got.
weird.
That's all we
But
got.
I even think like if you have your eyes open and like even if they're staring at you while making out like that, Like you can like open your eyes for like a second and then look. And then
What if his
close
eyes
them
are
again.
what if his eyes are open when you open your eyes? They're just wide open.
That's so like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine it.
So what would you do in this situation? Would you tell her something, tell him something, or just kind of?
Yeah, I'd be like, so I noticed that you like keep your eyes open every
If
time
you
we
like
make out. Like, yeah, if you want to like to make it work. Otherwise, I'd be like, all right, like if you're not interested, I'd be like, I just wouldn't even mention it. Just like be done.
Okay, Jen, what would you do in this situation?
I would probably do the same thing that Emma would do. I mean, if I like him and I want to stay in a relationship, I'd be like, hey, so this
makes me a
kind
little
of creepy.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, I would tell her to like open her eyes too, and then like make her eyebrows go up and down. Or just make
Like wiggle her eyebrows.
Wiggle your eyebrows. So, okay, that's one question. That was very entertaining, right? Like who, like...
What would you
I
do?
mean, maybe as a joke.
Yeah, no, I would just open my eyes too. It'd be like a stare down.
Oh, that's so weird. Which is so funny that like we consider keeping your eyes open weird during an intimate like thing such as kissing. You know?
Yeah.
You know what else is hard to do? Opening your eyes when sneezing, right?
Oh yeah, it's impossible.
It's impossible, right? So,
I thought it was impossible.
okay, next, one more
Okay.
quick one. As it happens, I, a 37-year-old female, threw out the impulsive, "Fuck, I love you," in the throes of sex with my friends with benefit last night. She says, but I don't. Well, not in the way it was perceived. Rightly so on his part. I mean, if someone you sleep with says I love you, it's fair to assume they mean it romantically. But unfortunately, before I could address this with some playful humor, he reciprocated. So how? So she says, how do I deal with this?
Dang, she just opened up a can of worms on this one, which sucks for him, right? Is it a him?
Yeah. So he said, I love you too. Like while they were having sex.
But at the same time, though, would
Or
she
if he
really
just-
say it if she didn't mean it? On some level.
Because you are such in a relaxed state, right?
Exactly.
That I think like subconsciously, like you probably
It's-
do mean it.
And that's why it just came out.
Or like even if you love him platonically, like you love him, right? So it doesn't like it's not even like I love you like in the romantic sense.
Like
It could
as a
be in the
person.
platonic sense, right? However, yeah, you're right. But I think sex makes us think more romantically. That's why
Right.
I just don't think that friends with benefits really works.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Somebody catches feelings.
So in the situation, maybe she does like love him.
I
Yeah.
think
You know?
so.
Or at least she's loving the sex.
So would you address it? Or
Yes, you have to address it. You have to have that painful conversation.
That I don't love you. It was just during. It was about orgasm talking.
Well,
No, not
not I don't love you. But because, like I said, I think there's some truth to it.
yeah.
But
Okay.
maybe, like Emma said, explaining I was in the moment and it was really great. But I love you like a
that's
friend.
tough. Right. And then but it's such I mean she's probably gonna lose him as a friends with benefit if that's the real case.
Yeah, because it gets complicated. Like after this situation, it's like it's different now. It's like kind of a relationship.
Yeah, see, oof. Like saying I love you during sex. Like I feel like in that moment you truly mean it because you're just like all the happy hormones are like occurring in your brain. And you're just like in a state of euphoria.
Like you're drunk,
Yes.
right? And the feelings
Drunk
come out.
of the sex and the happiness.
I guess. So Jen, would you address this or just kind of let it act like it
you'd
didn't
have to
happen?
address it.
Okay.
Would you address it?
I probably wouldn't.
No, you'd avoid. You'd avoid. And he'd tell me, he like, so she said I love you while having sex. What do I do? And I'd be like, you need to talk to her about it. He'd be like, I'm good.
I'd be like, I love you too so much. And then it turns into a relationship and who knows?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that is what would the date podcast do? I don't know
Those
if we
weren't bad. Those were good.
I don't even think we helped anyone out there, but
Yes, we did. We told him basically, you need to woman up or man up and have a conversation with that person.
okay. That's good. Good. Okay, let's talk to Jen.
Yes.
Jenifer or Jen?
Either or.
Okay, Jen. Jennifer. Let's talk to her about sex. You know what I'm saying?
Why are we talking to Jen about sex?
Because, you know, it's very important in the American society. It's more prevalent on TV, radio, I mean, everything. It's just sex, sex, sex. Sex sells.
Sex does sell.
Sex does sell. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, sex sells a lot. Anyways, so Jen, let's start with where are you from?
I was born and raised here in Texas.
Okay. Where in Texas specifically?
Grew up in Grand Prairie and then moved to Arlington around 13 years old.
Okay. Did you know you wanted to be a therapist at that age?
No.
No? Were you like the one that everyone like confided in, like would ask questions and say, hey, I'm having this problem? And
For sure.
yeah?
But starting off, whenever I went to college, I wanted to do kind of be like a kindergarten teacher.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Okay, so just fun fact, Jennifer and I went to grad school together.
Uh-huh.
That's how we know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because we both have the same licenses.
Yes.
Okay, so you went to Grand Prairie and then now you're in Fort Worth, is that right?
Still live in Arlington,
Arlington.
but practice out
Practice
of Fort
in
Worth.
Fort Worth.
Tell us something cool about your parents, though.
So my parents are from Canada,
Oh,
and my dad works for American Airlines, so we would always fly back and forth to and from Canada to see my mom's family.
okay.
And to make traveling a little bit easier, she decided to get my brothers and I dual citizenship. So
Nice.
we are Canadian citizens.
Oh, you know what? So that means when you are sick, do you
I think
fly?
Zorric's a little too, like,
Do you
happy about
fly to Canada because there's free healthcare? There's free healthcare there, right?
Oh, my God.
No? No. Oh my gosh. Because I went there recently to Calgary,
Nice.
which I love Calgary, and Toronto. And I was spending my loonies like Drake was, right?
Yeah.
That's why she likes Drake. Drake is from Canada.
Yes.
Yes. He's from Toronto.
And so is Ryan Gosling, your favorite.
Yes, I do love
He's
Ryan
good.
Yeah,
Gosling.
there are a lot of Canadians, great Canadians.
So
Exactly.
the first time that I went to Canada, I went to the capital, Quebec, and no, Ottawa, sorry. And so I was like, am I gonna like be able to like look at like Degrassi stuff? They're like, no, that's Toronto. And I was like, where's Drake from? Toronto. I was like, dang it, I'm in like the wrong section of Canada. I'm in the capital.
You know what I
Learning
noticed?
history.
You know what I noticed in Canada? Everyone says sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I think it's a very nice country over there. Over here we're like, get out of the way, and you're like honking your horn over there. They're like not honking horns.
Like, oh, come on through.
Yeah. It's different.
Yeah, I know. I don't like to like when people are driving like idiots, like you deserve to be an idiot. Like stay over there.
Mm-hmm.
Get away from me.
Do you like poutine?
Oh my god.
Oh my
I
gosh,
love
it's
poutine.
so good. Mmm.
Yeah, that's the Canadian thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went to Texas Wesleyan. So what made you become, or what out there like got you into being a therapist? Like what made you like want to go that route?
So I started off wanting to be kindergarten teacher. I don't really remember what stopped me from doing that. I want to say it was like during the time that teachers were like on strike for pay and stuff like that. So I was like, no, don't want to do that anymore. So then I got the great idea that I wanted to be pediatric nurse practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and followed one of my mom's kind of coworkers.
Oh, that's right, because your mom's a midwife,
Yes,
right?
my mom's a midwife. And the pediatrician that she was referring her clients to had a pediatric nurse practitioner. So I went and followed her for a day and decided I did not like to do that.
Why?
It was so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The first thing that we did was have to put a catheter in a little newborn baby boy.
Oh my gosh.
He was having trouble peeing. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this.
So do you guys know how they test for like gonorrhea?
No.
And they put the swab.
They put the swab in your pee hole,
Yeah.
and that hurts. I mean, you know,
like nails?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It
that's
hurts.
painful.
It like hurts
Blech.
and like it's weird.
right.
Anyways, go ahead.
So after that, I was like, yeah, no, can't do that. And then I think after that, I went into social work. And I took like an intro to social work, and I was like, yeah, no. Don't want to do this either. So I took an aptitude test, and it said that psychology would be my field. So I took intro to counseling and fell in love.
Oh, okay. And undergrad, what was that?
Undergrad was psychology.
Okay. No, which school?
Texas Wesleyan.
Texas Wesleyan. Okay, so you went undergrad and grad school.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a good school.
Yeah. No, I think we have a lot of guests here from
We
that.
do.
All of Emma's friends.
All of my friends.
All of Emma's friends. I feel like we're always plugging the school. They should
give
pay
me
us.
money.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, or like take away my student loan,
Yeah.
That would be a good
Yeah.
deal.
right?
Yeah. So
Every time I say Texas Wesleyan, like take off like another like $1,000 or something.
yeah.
God.
I bet she's like an acts of service type person. What do you? What's your love language?
Zorric loves asking this question.
I think my love language would be physical touch.
You like to hold hands and all that.
I'm
Yeah.
a cuddly person.
Emma likes that too.
I love
like,
physical
like we're
touch.
all physical touch people.
Yeah. Do you know your Enneagram?
Mm-mm.
Ah, okay.
We need to get her to take the test.
I know.
Okay, so how was your dating life while you were going to school? And like a lot of boyfriends, a few,
Non-existent.
non-existent. Oh no, just because you're not into it, or like
Just
focus
school
on school?
was my focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like women focus more on their career. Like dudes, we're just like chasing. We're just like
I feel like like in high school and in undergrad I was like boy crazy, and then grad school I was like, no, I gotta like grow up.
Yeah.
I need to get my act together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
I gotta support myself because obviously like no one's gonna support me.
of course. Well, unless you marry Jeff Bezos.
Oh,
my God.
yeah.
Or his wife.
Or his
Or his
wife.
ex-wife. Okay, so you got into therapy. So again, what is your like focus one more time?
So my focus, I like to work with adult individuals and couples, but I like to kind of special area of focus is sex therapy.
Okay. So what are some crazy questions you get? Like what,
So the craziest thing is when people come into my office thinking I'm going to have sex with them.
That is so
Wait,
crazy.
you're like a sex surrogate? Yeah.
Can you show me how to do this position?
I'm sorry.
I had one.
That's sex work? No, I don't do that.
I had one. He came and sat on my.
Oh my gosh, Zorric.
He came
Go
and
ahead.
sat on my couch, and we started talking, doing a little background gathering, and then he was like, "So when is the sex going to start?" And I was like, "No."
Are you kidding me?
Did
Was he
he stay as a
attracted?
client?
No.
Did he
No.
stay as a client after that?
No.
Okay.
Nope. He left and never came back.
So okay, so for the record, that's a no-no.
That's a huge no.
Oh, okay.
In Texas,
Yeah.
Maybe in a different country, that's okay.
California, sex surrogacy is back.
Yeah.
It's a form of
thing.
prostitution. Yeah.
Okay. So, what are some other questions? Like I know.
Sex working, I should say.
Yeah. What are some other questions you typically get? Like,
I think if I see adult males, I get a lot of questions about either erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Both of those.
That's a beautiful segue,
Beautiful
Jen.
segue. Thank you for bringing
You're
that up. I have a friend who just has a question about premature ejaculation. So what does that even mean?
Does this friend's name end with a C?
Maybe.
Okay.
What does that mean?
So premature ejaculation is basically climaxing, quote unquote, too early. So
But
now,
what does that mean?
Exa-
Early. Like,
exactly. So there's no real time.
Like measure,
Like,
right?
Yeah. And so I think a lot of it, 3 seconds.
So
could be
Emma,
too early.
what is too early for you? Tell me.
Before me.
Hey, how long does that take?
It depends.
Oh my gosh. Jason and Momoa.
Oh, a minute.
Oh my,
So you can have a minute and 5 seconds.
oh my gosh. Okay, so 3 seconds to
Like 11.
11 seconds? Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the typical things you tell them to, or the,
So
How do
it
you fix
depends.
that?
I mean, it can be just depending on their situation and what's going on. A lot of the times it can be they're in their head.
oh yeah.
And so it's just that performance anxiety. But there are some techniques that men can try, which would be the squeeze method.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
So the squeeze method is basically stimulating the penis until you're pretty much close to climaxing.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're there, you just squeeze the base and the head of the penis. And then once that erection kind of starts to go away, you let go, and then you can stimulate the penis again.
So it's like delaying the process.
So do you do it just one time, or that's like an exercise that men should do? So, but how long until then? Is that something you do every day or something, or like
Probably like a few times a week.
a few times a week? And how long? Like, what will it do?
It'll delay ejaculation. And it also kind of teaches you what your body feels like before you climax.
Ah, okay. I feel like an earthquake usually.
Well, because it's like awareness is key too, you know? So like
Exactly.
if you don't know like when you're like about to orgasm and you're having sex, if you're not aware of that, like you don't know when it's going to happen. So if you are like aware of it and then you're having sex and you're like,
Switch positions.
right,
or-
you can change
Read
something.
a book, get your mind off things.
Yeah.
Read a book. Watch baseball.
Watch
Yep.
baseball. Yeah. But then it is very embarrassing though. I can tell you that.
For sure.
Because if you don't, because I think as men we're always like, okay, we have to like, you know, because we've watched pornos,
Right.
And we're so influenced by we need to like really like please the woman and be
That's
like
the
that
big
porno
Which is
star.
issue.
exactly
Yeah.
because porn, like, so straight porn is always tailored to men, you know, and so and then it's very unrealistic and like the sense of like what women want. And then female, so lesbian porn is tailored to women, and if you see the differences between both, you see one that's just like rough and tough, which is like the one that's tailored like straight, you know, straight sex tailored for men, versus like the lesbian porn is more like sensual and it's about the process.
But not all women are sensual, and not all men are like
no,
I want to
that's
like
very
pound.
true, right?
Yeah.
But you see that porn,
Has the influence.
yes.
Yeah. And like how, so if I'm with a partner and I have a problem with premature ejaculation, how do I broach that subject with my partner? Because obviously maybe it happened a few times and, you know, maybe you haven't talked about it, but how do you work with your partner to get better at that?
Well, I mean, you would have that uncomfortable conversation and let them know this is something that I'm dealing with. But your partner can help you in it. You know, instead of manually stimulating your own penis, have your partner stimulate, and then you tell them
When it's time to
when
like
it's time to
squeeze.
squeeze. Yeah.
What if you have this problem and you're with a new woman? Is it something you should bring up, or should you just kind of just try, see what happens?
I mean, I don't know. I think that might differ person to person, but I think if you're the type of person that's going to be, you know, more open and kind of like, if this may turn into a serious relationship, kind of having that forefront of, I want to be open, I want to be honest. This is something that I'm dealing with, but may not be lifelong.
And that's like really personal. It's like our manhood, right? And I think if I don't perform well, she'll look down at me, or she won't date me anymore, or that'll be it. And that's
They're just gonna think less of me.
yeah. And like, dude, we have freaking egos. Like,
Men are very sensitive when it comes to their egos. You guys are very fragile, which is, I'm not gonna get into it, but men are very fragile.
Yeah, we are very fragile.
Yeah.
And also performance anxiety. Is that different than premature ejaculation, or same?
It can lead to
Yeah.
premature ejaculation, but it's not, they don't necessarily go hand in hand.
Yeah. So when men come to you about performance anxiety, like what does that entail typically? They're just not lasting long enough. Is it kind of the same thing?
Yeah,
Or?
they're just either. I mean, because performance anxiety can be premature ejaculation or erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
So they just can't get the erection because they're too anxious about performing.
So how do you, I guess, get rid of that anxiousness?
Just kind of process things with them, what's going on in their head, maybe work on self-confidence.
Because I can, you know, if it's a new partner, definitely, like it's a new environment, maybe you're at her place you've never been to, or, you know, and yeah, you can get anxiety, performance anxiety.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, alcohol
Oh,
has a lot
Oh yeah,
of
it does.
influence.
So it's so funny because we think that alcohol makes us a little bit more like like
looser and
To a point.
and sexual,
takes
right?
off the anxiety.
And it actually does the opposite. It makes us more anxious, makes us perform like less well.
There's a term, a scientific term called whiskey dick.
there you go.
I'm glad Jen Love said Zorric.
But no, it's a thing. It's a thing. And I'm sure, I think we've never talked about this on the podcast, and I'm glad we're talking about it because, hey, people have these problems.
These are real issues that are
Exactly.
affecting dating. Because, like, think about it. Like, if you're a man who, you know, has performance anxiety or, like, ejaculates prematurely and, you know, you're going on a date, things are going well, you're dating this person. This is, like, maybe it's your first date, maybe it's your fifth date, you know, depending on, like, where you guys are, and you want to have sex. Like, this is nerve-wracking because it's, like, you know you're about to get judged on something that, like, is intimate.
Yeah, because like I could be like, oh my gosh, she has $35 billion and I need to perform well so I can marry her. You know, it's just kind of like that, right? Performance. But what if, okay, so at what point do you start taking like Viagra or Cialis?
What do you mean? I mean, you can take
You
it
know,
at any point.
Yeah, but like, you know, if you're having issues getting it up, like, should you start taking, you know, Viagra, Cialis? I mean, every like TV like channel now, they're playing like a Viagra, you know, commercial.
I would say go get. One of my biggest things is I'll always ask my clients if they've been tested by their doctor, hormone levels, everything, because sometimes the doctor may prescribe the
Medication.
Yeah. Otherwise, they may have a hormone imbalance, and the doctor may help, you know, give them hormone replacement therapy or what have you.
So speaking of hormone imbalances, so Emma has an article about women
Yes.
and Viagra.
Yeah, so apparently the FDA this past Friday approved something called Viagra, which is nicknamed the female Viagra. And the biggest like cause of concern for this is that the who is it? Oh my gosh, sorry, I lost it. It's not the FDA. It is some board that I can't. The National Women's Health Network have reported they're disappointed because there's not enough information about this medication to see if this drug is actually safe and effective. And so what it is a shot that comes like in a push pen device, kind of like the EpiPen, that you can self-administer as needed because of your low sexual desire in women. And so they did a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trials in like 1,200 women in 2 weeks. And so what they note, the results really were that most patients use Viagra 2 or 3 times per month and no more than once a week. And so in these trials, 25% of patients treated with the Viagra had an increase in their sexual desire score compared to 17% of those who took a placebo.
That's a
which to
low
me,
score, 25%.
And like compared to the 17% in the placebo, like that's kind of close.
It is pretty close.
Right? And so, so that's why the National Women's Health Network is kind of like, we don't have enough information about this.
You know what happened, right?
What
There's
happened?
like a bunch of dudes on this board, the
Probably.
FDA, and they're like, oh, let's do it because my wife is not giving me enough, and that's what happened.
Because you
They approved
probably
it.
have a mistress or something.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to the strip club.
Probably.
And the purpose of the strip club is to like just get you excited for the main course back home.
Mm-hmm. Do you think this is going to cause problems in the marriage or relationships? Because, you know, there's some times when I want to have sex and she doesn't. She's just not in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
But then I can be like, hey, there's, what is it called? Khaleesi?
Khaleesi?
There's Khaleesi. And,
Game of Thrones, R.A.P.
yeah. And, you know, maybe there'll be some arguments about it. I don't know. Because, you know, sometimes I don't want to have sex, but I could take Viagra and get in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
And same with a woman.
I think sexual desire, no matter what, is when someone has like just a normal like sexual desire, whatever that is, compared to like the low. Like when someone's like not like when they're not matched up, I think that's always going to be an issue.
That's
because someone can have like a high like sex drive and someone else can have like a normal sex drive, whatever that is, and because they're not matched, that's going to be an issue.
Emma, where's your sex drive? High or low?
I'm not going to answer that.
Blink once if it's high.
I'm not answering that.
Blink twice if
I'm
it's
not answering that. I'm just going to drink my wine.
No, but
Can we open up my Emma wine yet?
We do. We have this
Thank
wine
you.
here called... We're not going to give them a plug because they're not paying us. No, but I agree.
It has my name.
I agree. In my previous relationships, I wanted sex more than she did. And I've been on the other side too. Like I didn't want sex and she did. So how do you find that balance, Jen? Like, do you have clients that come like as couples and they're like, oh my gosh, he wants it every day, but she's like, I don't because I'm tired. I'm this, I'm that.
I mean, I talk about their expectations. Like, what are their expectations of their sex life? And some may say, yeah, I want sex 5 times a week. And then the wife may be like, I can do 3.
But what's normal? What's the is there like an average?
There's not.
There's
It's
no
a thing.
normal.
Like every minute? Is that just kidding.
I think it just depends on like the kind of couple that you are, because there's some couples that are like think about like kind of like the beginning of a relationship where you're like wanting to have sex all the time, everywhere, no matter what, and nothing's gonna stop you. And then like the more that you become in a relationship, the less like sex you're having, and then by the time that you're having kids, because you're just so exhausted because you're married and you have kids and you have like you're just like worried about the kids that you have like no drive whatsoever, and you have to work at it. So it just depends.
Yeah, depending on their lifestyle,
And
how
by
much
the
they
way,
work and-
Sex in the City, because I was watching this a few weeks ago again, the movie. When, so in the first movie that, what's her face? Oh my gosh, Cynthia Nixon. That's not her name. Miranda. No. Is it Miranda?
Samantha?
No. Yes, it's Miranda. Miranda's like, how often do y'all have sex? And Charlotte's like 2-3 times a week. And Samantha's like, I have like sex every day because it's Samantha. And so she's like, oh, I haven't had sex in like years because I've been working and then I'm tired and blah blah blah. So it just really depends on like how you're working at it as a couple.
Okay, so Jen, if they do have mismatched expectations, how do you work through that?
Just finding that compromise. What would they be willing to maybe, if the person who has the quote unquote low sex drive, would they be willing to increase it some way? Maybe drop the laundry, because especially let's just say it's the woman. She has the low sex drive because she's like, well, before we go to bed, I have to put the kids to bed, I have to give them a bath, I have to do the laundry, I have to do the dishes. So maybe if it's he wants to help with the dishes.
If I wanted it that bad,
And the laundry, because
And the laundry.
she has to give them a bath
Exactly.
and
Emma, no.
put them to bed.
hire a maid. If it's that big of a problem,
Some people
right?
can't,
Why not,
though, is
right?
the thing.
Exactly. What
That
if
is
you can't
true.
afford a maid?
That is true. You guys are right again. And does that usually work out? Like they compromise and then they end up living happily ever after? Or
They can. But I will say some people are like, nope, this is my sex drive. This is how I want it. This is when I want it. And this is what I'm going to do.
Does it lead to a lot of divorce? Like
Not
mismatch?
like a lot, but it can lead to
Yeah.
divorce.
Because I think we read something somewhere. It was like money is number 1, the leading cause of divorce, and number 2 is sex. Because it's important, right? Well, to
Yeah.
most people. Well, I don't know.
To most people it is.
To most people it is. So what happens if I'm the woman and I don't have that desire? Like how do you... And maybe we've been married for, 10 years. And you just kind of lost it.
One of my biggest, especially if it comes as a couple, one of my biggest questions is, are you still dating? Because a lot of the times you stop dating. And because...
What does that mean?
Like you stop going out on dates. You stop courting each other. And then your life becomes mundane. And then especially on the date, what are you talking about? Are
The
you talking
kids?
about kids?
Are you talking about like their
Work.
schedules, like what you have to do the next day? Or are you actually like enjoying
Each
the
other.
time that you're spending with the person and being like, I'm so happy that you're here with me. I love how blue your eyes are with that shirt that you have, you're no longer flirting with each other either.
So how? Because I feel like that happens too with relationships. Like if you're in a relationship for like 2 or 3 years, it kind of gets old, and you lose like conversational topics, I guess.
Yep.
But you're saying, so how do you spice it up?
So one of my favorite things is like kind of like I wouldn't call it a game, but it's like a conversation starter called Table Topics.
Oh yeah.
And they have a couples edition, and I usually recommend my couples to go out and buy it. And then when they go out to dinner, instead of talking about kids, chores, household, read a couple of the cards and spark conversations off of that.
That sounds good. We should try that, Emma.
Okay. That's
So
fine.
do you see that this loss of interest kind of leads to cheating and infidelity?
It can, depending on the person
Yeah.
and what their morals and values are.
So if someone cheats, can you come back from that, or how do you come back from that?
If the other partner is willing to forgive, then that's a big thing. Sometimes partners are like, once you cheat, I'm done. Kids or no kids, I'm out of here. But I've had a lot of couples who it's, just working through that trust, rebuilding, rebuilding that life together.
Because there's like this crazy stat, Emma, that 30% of people on dating apps are in relationships.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are like not happy, right?
And I think that part of it too is like the person who's been cheated on, if you're going to stay in their relationship, like you have to work through the fact that you're not weak for staying.
Right.
Because I think that a lot of times, like the people on the outside view the person that stays as like weak or like lacking self-confidence in their relationship for staying. And so like working through that is like really important too.
So let's say that the relationship is mundane and so is the sex. How do you spice that up?
How do you spice sex up?
Yeah.
Go to a sex store.
Oh, really?
Yes. They have, fun fact, I worked in...
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
I worked at one for about, what was it, like 7+ years? And there's tons of things. There's games, board games, dice, there's
Toys. Obviously.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Zorric.
Bondage,
Yeah.
cuffs.
Huh. Do you have a lot of clients that are into like bondage and cuffs and what is that, 50 Shades of Grey? Yeah, that kind
Like
of
that
stuff.
BDSM.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah. I've had one who was very openly, or I guess open about her kink life. But other than that, not really.
So when does like a fetish become a problem?
Problem meaning...
Like
law.
a problem, not like killing somebody, but like when do you like maybe, I don't know, maybe a couple likes to watch porn while having sex, but then
You can't perform without having sex.
yeah, you can't perform without the porn or something like that, or
That would be a problem.
yeah, huh? What else? Like,
I'm trying to think.
because fetishes can turn into like an obsession sometimes, I think.
Well, I think when one partner tries to take it too far and doesn't take the other partner's wishes or boundaries into consideration.
Yeah.
And so even though, they're, we've done this, so why won't you do this? And for that person, it may be like a huge deal.
Right.
But to the other partner, they're just saying, well, it's one step above.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Because I feel like you have to be in sync, like sexually, to be really satisfied.
Well, it
right?
also still comes down to like having that conversation with your partner of like it's a continuing conversation. It doesn't just end when you both agree, because like if your partner like wants to take it another level higher and you're not ready for that, maybe there's a compromise that y'all can do, or it's more of like, I just need to feel like safe a little bit longer here before I feel like I can move on to like whatever it is that you want. And so it really just comes down to like continuing having that conversation.
Yeah, it's like communication is key, right? In
Always.
whether it's like,
And that's like one of I think the bigger issues that I see with a lot of couples who come in, it's just they can't communicate well.
yeah.
And then if you can't communicate, you have to think, if you can't communicate well on the quote unquote everyday subjects, how do you expect to communicate about sex?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to communicate. Oh my gosh.
So like if your relationship has become like quote unquote mundane and you're just like stuck in like the routine of like what life is, and yet like you want to have like kinkier sex, like you need to be able to have a conversation about like what's going on every day before you can have a conversation about like your sex life. So like you have to build upon it.
Yeah. But I don't know. So what toys do you recommend
For what?
as far as a couple? Like what's like a baby step? Like what would be the first toy you would say, "Hey, you guys should try this."
Baby step would
And
probably
this does
be,
not have to be a professional opinion. This can just be like your regular opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for the couple, it would be probably like a vibrating penis ring. Because that way.
Thank you, Jen, for laughing. Zorric.
Okay.
That's good.
And what is that? How do you use that? How does that work?
So it's stretchy. So you would stretch it out, put it at the base of the penis, and then you can either have a single vibe or a double vibe. So single vibe is going to be the vibrator goes on top. So that way when he's inside, it's hitting the clitoris. And then the double vibe is one on the top for her and then one on the bottom for him.
Zorric's like, I'm learning so much right now. I'm taking all these notes.
I am taking lots
Oh
of
my
notes.
gosh.
Okay. I've never seen that before. So it's like a ring, right?
Yeah.
It's a funny story about Elton John.
Let's hear it.
So on Graham Norton, he said that when he got married, when Elton John got married, so he was talking about how he's actually friends with Eminem, and they're actually really good friends, right? Which is like surprising to the world because Eminem comes out like as such a homophobe in his like songs, but Elton John's like, he's really a lovely person. We've been friends forever, and he's really supportive. And he said that when he got married to his now husband, Eminem gave him and his husband matching bedazzled cock rings.
Oh, wow.
And Elton John's like, they're still on the box.
So what else is besides a cock ring? What's step 2?
For couples, bringing in like an actual vibrator.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you have to think, like, the rings are going to be really small, like inch, maybe 2-inch vibrators. And then you can bring in what we would call a bullet, and that's going to be a little bit bigger.
Okay. Do you show, like, clients this? Do you have, like, a...
I don't have,
Like
like
just
a...
You know, like a
Display.
showroom.
Display.
But I do recommend that they go
Yeah.
to a store together.
Yeah. And I think it'd be nice to have someone to show the couple around. Like, hey, this is what you...
You can always ask the store associate that's
Oh,
at
there
the
you-
store
there you go.
for
Should be
support.
trained on that.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
No, as therapists, we are not getting paid to go to
I
a sex
don't go
store
shop
with a
with you.
couple.
No, you should charge, like,
Ask
triple
the
for
store
that.
associate for support at that moment.
Yeah. But that's good. So we use toys. What about, like, different places? Would that be... Like,
In regards to what?
Maybe, like, rent out a hotel room. Maybe you can spice it up that way.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
That could be a date night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little different environment. Get away from the home, that mundane home. Sex in the same bed, sex at the same time.
Yeah. Get sitters, and maybe, like, have, like, a trip of it,
Little
right? Like a
weekend
weekend
getaway.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about orgasms?
You're just having so
Wait,
much fun with
I'm
all your
talking-
sex
I'm
questions,
talking to
aren't
Jen
you?
right now.
You're not even like making eye contact with me. You're like avoiding everything with me
Wait,
now.
let's talk about orgasms. Are they important to you guys, to women?
Yes.
Like my own?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't care about his. I care about mine. No, I'm joking.
So, like, okay, so what's the best way to get that job done? Like, how do you get a woman to orgasm?
Well, most females will get it through clitoral stimulation because there's...
The cock
like
ring,
8.
too, if you use a cock ring. No?
Well, if it has the vibrator, it can help.
Okay. So, go ahead. So, you were talking about orgasms.
Yes. I mean, the main focus is going to be clitoral stimulation. I mean, the clitoris has the most nerve endings.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I think it's like 8,000.
Because I'd be like, Zorric, stop.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the clitoris has like 8,000 nerve endings. So that's going to be the most sensitive, stimulating area.
Okay.
So focus on that.
Okay.
Some women can achieve orgasm through
Penetration. Okay. Okay.
But I think it depends on like positions too.
Yeah. Because I think men, it's easy. We just like look at you guys and you're just like, I'm finished.
Oh,
Yep.
great.
And you guys are like cussing at us because it's like, yeah, you're
You
like,
need to last longer.
and see, there's a pressure. There's a pressure again. We're
Exactly,
like, hey,
right?
we have to be like,
Well,
pros
Well,
at
because
this.
it takes us just longer.
Yeah.
Like, and you also have to remember, like, men masturbate a lot more, I think, than women do.
Are you sure? Is that true?
I feel like studies have been done on that.
I don't know.
Can you? No, you don't remember. Okay.
I would believe it to be true, but
I think there's also like, okay, so like for me, it's just like looking in the Latin culture itself, like there's kind of like that negative, like men are men and like women cannot like be equal to men in that sense. So like that's why like men, it's easier for men to get away with having extramarital affairs than it is for women to have extramarital affairs, because, and it comes down to like just basic like sex education, because it's like once, like it's I'm trying to figure out my words right now. Like it's okay for men to masturbate versus it's like more like it's going to be more hell and doom if women masturbate. And so you're told a lot that like you don't masturbate, you wait until have sex in order to feel like some kind of glory, and then men are like, all right, you're men.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind
I
of like
see that.
men are just allowed to do a lot more than women are when it comes to sex.
Yeah. I can see that because we're men and we should be able to find somebody, right? And we don't need to masturbate, maybe.
No, like it's okay for y'all to masturbate
Oh.
because you guys have needs that need to be met, versus like as women, like our needs need to be like second to you guys. Like they need to be in the back burner until we're in a relationship. And then that's when they're still in the back burner. And so like we always have to make sure that the man like finishes, versus like if we don't finish, like it's not a big deal because we've never finished and you're never going to finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are ways that, let's say a man does finish, like what can a man do to satisfy oral?
yeah.
It depends. It depends on the woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
some women may not like
Toys,
it. Yeah, or toys.
vibrators.
Mhm.
Bring
Yeah,
a
because that's not
vibrator.
fair. And, like if we have trouble performing and we're not performing well for you guys, and we have to figure out a way to like please you, right? Communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about women? Any women or women's issues you want to talk about, Emma?
Yes. Jen.
Uh-oh.
So, we talked about the female Viagra, right? And so one of the main things is like that it was for the low sexual drive. But like what happens if you're just like in pain when you're having sex? Because that happens to women a lot. Well, not a lot, but it is common in women.
So it depends. There's one called vaginismus, and that's the tightening of the pelvic muscles, and that can lead to either no penetration at all because they get so tight,
Oh, wow.
or just very uncomfortable sex.
To where you're like in pain.
Yes. There's no real known cause for those. I definitely think that sometimes it can be psychological. I do remember, don't remember what show it was, but I kind of remember a long time ago watching a documentary on vaginismus, and there was an arranged marriage, and she ended up being diagnosed with vaginismus because every time they tried to have sex, he could not penetrate. And what it came down to was she was from the Muslim culture. She had a Muslim background, and sex was a huge, no, it's shameful. So just based off of upbringing, she had such a horrible view on sex. And so that kind of created her body to
Be like, no,
Just
thank you.
say
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So a lot of times you can work with your doctor, and they'll have like dilators. They'll start very small and then kind of graduate. And then you take those step by step. You can do pelvic floor muscles. And then I think a lot of the times, if you're in a relationship, just being in constant communication with your partner, refraining from sex, making sure that they are supportive.
But she's aroused though, right? It's just that it won't.
Right.
Like she's
Right,
like
yeah.
Emma, she's very aroused.
Jenifer, stop laughing at him. You're not helping, Jenifer.
But she's like Emma. She's obviously always aroused, but it's just not going.
It just can't get in.
God, I wish I had a freaking soundboard. God.
Interesting. So if you're a couple in that situation, like,
I don't know. If Lenny Kravitz came around, I think that'd be a different story.
Oh yeah, you would be.
Stop it! Don't do it! Stop it!
So if you're in a situation like that, let's say you're dating somebody new, and she's like, I have this problem. Well, not problem, but just issue. How do you deal with that?
Understanding. I mean, if it's a brand new relationship, then he has to make the choice whether or not he wants to stay in it.
But is it curable or is it not curable?
Yeah, you can totally treat it.
Okay. But he has to just be patient,
yes.
I guess.
Yes. Very patient, very kind.
But there are other ways to make us orgasm. Definitely. Right?
What are you talking about?
For men. Yeah. Like, you can look at us and like, I'm already finished. But, for women, you have to, but there's oral for women too. Right. Like a guy can, do that stuff and take care of that. Yeah.
For me, like, one of the things that I found like is always important is that like I know how they like to masturbate and they know how I like to masturbate. But
when in a relationship do you broach that subject? First date?
No.
Emma, first date?
No. It's not until like I'm having sex with him.
Mm-hmm. First date?
No, not the first date. Nor the second date.
Jeff
nor the
Bezos.
Third date.
What if he had $25 billion?
Yeah. No, he has more than that.
He probably has more than that.
Isn't he? He's probably like
no, he is the richest man.
Close to like a trillionaire, no?
Yeah, he's the richest man in the world.
Is he really?
Yeah, for sure.
Like more rich than Paris Hilton?
Yeah, does that make you happy or does not make you happy?
No.
No? Okay.
That lazy eye gets me. I'm sorry, Jeff Bezos. That lazy eye gets me. I'm so sorry.
What was your question again? I forgot.
I don't.
Got your question.
I'm not trying to be mean, I promise.
Oh, okay.
It just gets me. Like, it scares me.
So is it acceptable to have sex on the first date?
Sure.
Yeah?
If you want to.
Yeah.
I mean, if both are consenting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You both have to consent. I think there's like, am I going to have sex on the first date? No.
Whatever.
No, I'm not. Is someone else going to have, are you going to have sex on the first date? Probably.
Yes.
Maybe. It depends. It depends.
Depends on the girl?
Yeah. It depends. Because I guess because the rule is like 3-date rule, right? They're like, and third date you should.
That's a rule. That's like it's a legit like rule.
It's also statistically like you have sex at least. You should usually have sex on the third date. Third date, not first
like
date.
you have to?
No, you don't have to.
But just like
it becomes like more acceptable to have, and like it's sort of like you both. Once you get to the third date, it's like you both like mutually agree without like having the conversation that you're gonna have sex. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What if like I don't know why I wrote this question down.
Is this for a friend again, or is this for you?
I don't know why I wrote this, but it said, "Can tall women orgasm?"
Like, can you tell when women orgasm?
Can tall women orgasm?
All women can orgasm if done correctly.
Can tall
women?
Oh,
orgasm.
Why wouldn't they?
I don't know. I don't know why this was.
Because Zorric's an idiot.
I don't know why this was.
The other question that we got from our listeners was, how long can a guy last without sex? And I feel like it just depends.
Shit.
Yeah.
It depends on the guy.
A couple weeks, others can last a lot
longer.
But
beggars
some have the gift of celibacy, and some can go like a month or longer without sex. Yep. Some people can go 10 years without sex, and there's no right or wrong.
What does sex mean, though? Is that masturbation? Or is
it depends
like a
on the person.
Yeah.
What is sex?
How do you define sex?
Yeah. If you don't include masturbation, and you believe that masturbation is not part of sex.
Is this your question for yourself?
No, it's not.
Is that for the escape room?
No. I don't care.
You don't care. So whenever you're in a relationship, how long can you last without sex? Was that a different language?
Yep.
Was that a yes? Because that's important. You said earlier it's important to you in a relationship.
Like I went through like a period. I think Jen, you knew about this. So, like I went 10 years without sex. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is
I went
that
through,
true?
Like a 10-year period without sex.
When was this? When you're like...
I was in grad school.
From 0 to 10?
Yeah.
Years old?
No, it was like... I think it was like 19 when I was like, no, I have to be celibate. Like 19 to 29.
But what was the reason for that?
There was multiple reasons for that I'm not going to share
Oh,
on air.
we should start right now. Let's hear all the
They're
reasons.
very personal. What was that? What's wrong with you?
This is the time for sharing right
No.
now. I want to hear why does someone go into celibacy? Not for religious reasons. Just
I mean, a variety of reasons. Could be just personal growth. Could be trauma. Could be anything. There's no real rhyme or reason.
Okay. That's a
Could
choice.
be just wanting to see if they can last that long.
Oh, it's a test.
Could be a test.
Challenge.
Could not be. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
If you don't know by then, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. What other questions do you have, Emma?
That's all I have, Jen.
I thought you had more questions. I thought I had more questions too. But
You need to stop drinking that wine. Is what you need to do.
we guys out there and gals, we always say we're gonna keep it to an hour, but it's not an hour. It's like
It's over an hour. It's fine.
This,
I
uh-huh.
just want to take a sidebar and just like thank Jenifer for being so patient with Zorric.
Oh my gosh, I'm asking like
fine.
legitimate questions,
Those are
right?
Fairly decent.
Like, can you tell me more about? No.
Because, yeah, you've been just like super patient because obviously, like, I'm just like, no, stop talking right now. And you're just like, all right,
I
like,
think Jen should.
I'll like
come.
entertain you for a little bit. Let me entertain you.
Yeah, Jen should be a frequent guest because
Okay.
she plays along.
I can do that.
And
Yeah.
you can't laugh at him anymore. Stop laughing when he plays the soundboard.
Okay, I think I've like really asked
Raunchy questions now.
all of my questions. I have a question about lube. It just says what lube question mark. So how do you choose the right lubrication?
I would think it's
I
like
mean, it
trial and
depends,
error, right?
Yeah.
It depends because some people have sensitivities. Others want, so there's like water-based, which is going to dry out faster because it's water-based. So you're going to have to reapply more depending on how long you're having intercourse. Then there's silicone-based. It's going to be really slippery, so you would use less, but it can stain. So if you like your sheets, don't use
it on your
silicone.
sheets.
It's kind of messy too sometimes. Like all the lube, all the lubes. There's, you know,
How
our
much are you? Never mind. I don't want to know. Never mind. I don't want to know.
You know,
don't answer.
oh,
What was that?
that's a half splash. One of our friends, Brian Howie, comes on the show all the time. He talks a lot about how kids won't even know how sex would be with a real
Because
woman.
Dr. Drew said this.
Because Dr. Drew said that.
Dr. Drew on his show
Go ahead.
said that basically like this generation of kids or boys, because everything's like on video games and like the VR stuff, that they're not gonna like want to have, they're not gonna know how to like engage with someone like person to person or sexually, because they're gonna be able just to watch like porn through like the VR stuff, and so they're gonna be like
I can believe
socially
that.
stunted.
I can totally believe that.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult for. I don't know if you've had any like cases or examples, but I'm sure.
Kids?
Yeah, but I'm sure like
Not kids, I would think with
yeah,
adults.
but porn addiction too is probably this in the same kind of boat.
It
Do you see a lot of patients with it? Yeah.
And I think, as we were saying earlier, I think that really kind of messes with their expectations of sex. And I think that can lead to performance anxiety because they think, oh, I'm supposed to perform this way. And then in reality, that's not what the woman wants.
So if I have a porn addiction, how do you or fix that?
I mean,
Cut off your internet? I guess that's
No.
are you watching it just at home? Are you watching it at work? Is it interfering with personal life? Is it interfering with friends? Kind of what's going on with it. And then if it's, I'm watching it at work and at home, seeing, kind of what's leading you to watching porn. And then just kind of figuring out where to go from there. Do you need to stop watching it at work? So cut off all ties at work and then just watch it at home. Do you need to cut it off altogether? It just kind of really depends on what's going on.
How do you feel about that answer?
I love it. It's great. What's
Nothing.
Why are you
Nothing.
disappointed?
why are you shaking your head? Okay. I think we've talked a lot about sex today.
Sex.
Sex. I think we're supposed to talk about relationships, but I mean,
I feel like we did touch on it, like how it affects and like things that you need to do, like depending on like where you are in the relationship. Like it's like the most important thing is like if this is someone that you feel you have a strong connection with and that you want to take things further, then like having that conversation is always going to be important. If you're already in the relationship, like continuing that conversation. It just comes down to like really being able to communicate about it, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be awkward. You're going to be embarrassed by it because just how we've all been like raised and brought up where we think that sex is an embarrassing topic. Just kind of have to like rip off the Band-Aid.
So when in a dating, I guess, scenario, should you talk about sex? Is it just when you start having sex?
I don't necessarily think it's when. I would say it depends on how open-minded you are and how open-minded you think that possible partner to be is.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you would want to, I mean, maybe on the third date, you talk about sex before having sex.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Do you agree? Third date? I guess when you start having sex, talk about sex.
I think it's like when, or like,
talk about it before.
I would talk about it before the fact that, you know, you're going to have sex with them. Like when you're like, oh, I want to have sex with them the next time I see them. Like before that, like as soon as that happens, I feel like you need to have that conversation with them. And if it's like an awkward conversation over the phone, like if that's what's helpful, then go for it. You're not seeing each other's faces, right? You're just hearing each other. It's still a conversation. You're still like word, like mouth to ear almost, you know? So that's what's important. FaceTime, if you're really brave.
Yeah. So I should have asked this question to you guys earlier in that first segment, but there's a question from like we know how many you've had, but like there's a question about this woman wanted to know how many partners her boyfriend had.
I don't know how many partners I've had.
Is that a question you should ask somebody, or is that appropriate even?
I don't think I've answered that question to you.
I think you can ask it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get an answer.
To say, yeah, exactly. Allowing them to say, this is how many, or no, I'm not going to answer it.
But if someone says no, then, or I'm not going to answer, that's kind of...
Well, you have to think that could either be, it's maybe embarrassingly too low, quote unquote, or maybe it's
shaming
astronomical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
So it could
tough...
go either.
Yeah, I think I've been asked one time and I just didn't answer it. But it was not even a serious relationship. Right, Emma?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about sex today, which
Does
is
that
great.
make you happy?
It does. So what?
And our next episode is going to be about sex as well.
It's a sex month for us.
Sex month.
So what did you learn? What's the most important thing?
The most important thing for me is always communication. Like always have you're going to have that uncomfortable conversation no matter what. It can be like, this is what I have this disorder and I need to work through it. Or it's going to be like, I'm not ready for sex and I know that you are. No, I'm not ready to do this thing yet. And I know that you are. I want to spice things up. Where are you with this? Like,
this is
always,
what I like.
Yeah. That's always you're always going to have that uncomfortable conversation. Like it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So, Jen, so most of our, I think 99% of our listeners are at least dating or in a new relationship. What's just something you can tell them as far as sex is, concerned? Like, what are some recommendations, or maybe something about communication or being safe, or?
Definitely, like Emma was saying, communication is going to be one of the biggest things. But I also think just allowing yourself to be vulnerable, just understanding that it is a vulnerable topic, and just sitting in that vulnerability is a huge feat for a lot of people.
What about those couples that are thinking they have an issue? What would you recommend to them? Just to see somebody?
Go talk to someone. Yep, go see a doctor. Get all of your levels tested and get checked out by the doctor. And then if, further help is needed, then find a therapist.
And it's always good just to ask somebody because, you know, the best case scenario is there's no issue. It's just, you know, it's just nothing. So
Now let's remember that sex therapy does not mean sex surrogacy.
Yes.
As a sex therapist, you will not, like, if you go see a sex therapy, it does not mean you're going to have sex with them.
Correct.
That's not what it is.
not even
No
like
touching.
No touching
nothing.
whatsoever. No hugging, no touching, minimal eye contact. No.
All right, Jen. So where can everyone find you?
I am at Reconnecting Relationships Therapy. We are in Fort Worth, located off of 30 and University.
Does your office smell like pancakes all day?
It sometimes does.
Pancakes.
Yeah, so we're connected to the Old South Pancake House.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought that was
upstairs.
about Canada and maple syrup.
No.
That would be a good one, though.
Any websites or any type of social media you want to share or not share?
Just reconnectingrelationships.com.
Okay.
And then we're on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Sounds good. I think that's all we have, right, Emma? Anything else? Any closing statements? No?
Nope.
No?
I'm worried.
Why are you worried?
Zorric's finger's near the soundboard. I never
Why-
know what's going to happen.
Why are you always worried?
Because it's you.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot for your time, Jen, and hopefully you'll
Yes,
come
Jen,
back
thanks
and
for
talk
having
about
back.
other topics because I
Yes.
know we have other things to talk about. I mean,
Zorric has
I'd
lots
love
of
to.
questions
I have
for you.
lots of questions for you. So, okay.
For a friend, wink, wink.
For a friend, I have all the answers. So, I mean,
right.
Right.
As a, yeah. Mhm.
okay. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Date Podcast. Please subscribe and review if you liked what you hear. Send us an email at hello@datepodcast.com for any questions, comments, or show topics you'd like for us to discuss. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Most importantly, tell your friends about our show.